Ever thought about what your computer is doing when you're not doing anything? What if all that downtime, all that idle time, could actually be used to reforest the entire planet? Well, today we're diving into a super fascinating project called IdleForest that aims to do just that by turning your spare internet connection into trees. I mean, really think about it for a second. Your computer's on, your internet is connected, but are you ever really using 100% of your connection? Probably not. So what happens to all that leftover capacity, that idle bandwidth? What if we could put it to work planting real living trees? Well, that is the exact promise of IdleForest. It's a simple little desktop app and browser extension that safely uses your leftover internet bandwidth to fund reforestation projects all across the globe. The concept is so simple, but the potential impact is absolutely massive. Okay, so how on earth does this actually work? Let's break it down. We're going to look at what IdleForest really is and how it manages to turn something we all have, spare bandwidth, into a genuine force for environmental change. At its heart, the idea is just brilliant. IdleForest is a totally free tool you can install on your computer. And once it's up and running, it quietly shares your unused internet capacity, the part you're not using anyway, to generate revenue that goes directly into planting trees. The whole process is designed to be completely seamless for you. You just install it, and that's it. You keep browsing, you keep streaming, you keep working just like you always do, because your activities always get priority. Meanwhile, in the background, your shared bandwidth is quietly generating funds that get sent right to verified tree planting partners. Okay, so you're sharing bandwidth, and that's creating revenue. But what's the magic in the middle? What's happening in between? Let's peel back the layers a bit and see exactly how your digital contribution turns into a physical canopy of trees. The process is incredibly straightforward. It all starts with you, sharing your idle bandwidth while the system just runs quietly in the background. From there, business partners use that distributed network to gather public web data for things like research. And finally, the revenue from that service is used to fund the tree planting. It's a simple, transparent, and really effective model. So here's the crucial point. What kind of data are we talking about? Let's be crystal clear. It is not your personal data. We're talking about companies collecting public information for stuff like market research or tracking product prices across different online stores. Like a research team monitoring public job postings. It's all publicly available information. Of course, anytime you hear about sharing anything from your computer, the first thing you think of is safety and privacy. And honestly, that's the most important question to be asking. The folks behind IdleForest address this head on. This quote right here is key. Isolated, sessionless requests. What that really means is the tool isn't looking at what you're doing. It's not part of your personal browsing. It's sending out its own separate requests for public data that have nothing to do with you or your activity. And let's just state this as clearly as possible. Your personal browsing, your accounts, your history, all of it remains completely separate and totally private. The system is specifically designed so it never touches, reads, or interacts with your personal data in any way, shape, or form. Beyond privacy, this distributed model has a huge environmental advantage. Instead of building these massive, energy-hungry data centers, IdleForest uses resources that already exist. This not only slashes operational costs by up to 90%, but it also avoids the huge carbon footprint of traditional data infrastructure, and the trees you help plant just go even further to offset what little footprint is left. So you're contributing to a more efficient, greener system. And one of the most rewarding parts is you don't just have to take their word for it. IdleForest makes your impact totally visible, letting you literally watch the forest that you're helping to grow. And here it is. Every user gets their own personal dashboard. You can see your points accumulating over time, and most importantly, the number of trees you've personally helped plant. It gives you a really tangible, visible connection to the impact you're making. The app itself gives you this real-time look at what's happening. You can see when planting is active, the total number of requests your device has helped with, and of course, your personal tree count right alongside the total number of trees planted by the entire network. And to make it even more engaging, they've added a bit of fun to it. You can unlock these cool badges for hitting certain milestones, like the Sapling Supporter Badge for helping plant your first few trees. It's a really nice little nod to celebrate your progress and keep you motivated.
Now, all of this sounds great in theory, but what does it actually look like in practice? Well, let's look at a quick case study of a company called Hoken Tech that put this exact model to work. Hoken Tech is a company that was already focused on sustainability. They work on the carbon neutral EOS blockchain. So for them, partnering up with IdleForest was just the natural next step to deepen their environmental commitment. So, why the number 9? Well, get this. After calculating their energy usage for the previous year, Hoken Tech determined that planting just 9 trees would completely offset their annual CO2 emissions. 9. That's it. It's such a surprisingly small number, which makes it feel incredibly achievable. And that's really the crucial point of their story. It just shows that making a real environmental impact doesn't have to be some massive, expensive undertaking. Small teams, startups, even individuals can achieve real sustainability goals without overhauling their budgets or their daily routines. Ultimately, what this represents is a new, incredibly accessible path to sustainability. It proves you don't need new equipment, you don't need to change your daily habits to make a difference. And because the impact is so visible, it can be a really powerful tool for boosting team morale and engagement. Which brings us right back to that very first question, but now with a whole new perspective. Seeing how a small team could offset their entire carbon footprint with just 9 trees really makes you wonder, what could your unused bandwidth, combined with thousands and thousands of others, truly achieve?